Filling out the FAFSA can be a really confusing part of the college application process, and some people don't even do it, whether it's because it looks too complicated and scary, or maybe it's because you don't think you're going to get anything from it. Hi, my name is Wiley. I work for Athena AI, and in today's video, I'm going to be walking you guys through a few things that you can do to maximize the amount of money that you get from the FAFSA. The first tip I have for you guys is to fill it out as early and as accurately as possible. That FAFSA works on a first come, first served basis. So if you're late to filling it out, you might not get as much money as you hoped that you were guaranteed. And in terms of being as accurate as possible, the government has access to your tax returns, so there's no reason to be lying about your income. Remember that adding a zero is the difference between $1,000 a year and $1 million a year. And that's really going to have a huge impact on how much your child can get from the FAFSA. And also just make sure that you've signed in all of the required spaces. That's something that gets parents a lot, is that they missed a signature somewhere, or they didn't realize that they had to input this information somewhere else. And it's just really confusing to have to go back and forth with the government. So filling it out all in that first time and just triple checking that you have everything down is really going to be helpful in both being efficient, but also being on that first come, first serve basis. Because if you have to keep going back and forth with the government about every little detail, then you're going to be late and you might not get as much money as possible. Going back to the tax returns, my next point would be to minimize your taxable income. Over all of the sources that I read while researching for this video, all of them are saying that you should hold off on selling bigger assets, right? That could be a whole bunch of stocks. Maybe you're trying to sell a second house or a car, or you just inherited a bunch of things and now you want to sell it off. These are things that you should not be selling before the FAFSA is closed. Because if the government sees that, they're going to assume that you have a higher taxable income, and thus they're not going to be giving your kid as much money as they deserve or as they could get from the FAFSA if you hadn't sold off all those things, right? Because lower income families are always given more money than those higher income families. And no matter where you are on the range, you should always apply for the FAFSA, but it could vary depending on, did you just sell a whole bunch? Do you have a whole bunch of money? That type of thing. While you're filling out the FAFSA super early, it's also important that you put everything in the parent's name. Right, because the FAFSA is going to assume that the child is going to be paying for more of the college than the parent. I'm not sure why they do this, but it's just something to know. For instance, let's say the child has $10,000 in their bank account, $15,000. The government is going to say, okay, they have enough money in their bank account. They can definitely figure out some way to pay for college, right? They have enough money to fall back on. Maybe they can get a job. They can pay it off. We don't need to give them as much money as we would need to give someone who has only $2,000 in their bank account, $1,000, less than that. Another thing to consider is that if you have a sibling going to college at the same time, maybe your kids are going into college at the same time, you should be filling out the FAFSA for them at the same time. And this is because it could cut the parent's income in half, and thus send a message to the FAFSA team or the government saying, hey, there's no way I'm going to be able to pay for two kids going to college at the same time. They need more money, and that's going to get you ultimately more money. But of course, that's kind of a rare case to have two kids going to college at the same time, but just something to consider again. Now, while this video was on the shorter side, I hope that this one fact really kind of drove home with you, and that is to fill out the FAFSA as early and accurately as possible. The FAFSA is a first come, first served type of thing. So if you're late, you might not get as much money as you wanted, and you want to make sure that it's filled out accurately so you don't have to go back and forth with the government or get caught lying about something. Whether or not you meant to be lying about it doesn't matter. It's bad either way. They do have your tax returns. They know your information, and they're just looking for you to verify that for them. You should also be lowering your minimum taxable income to help show the government that you are a lower income family and thus get your kids some more money. Waiting to sell off those huge stocks, that second house you've been wanting to sell, that car, until after your kid has their financial aid package back. All right, that's a video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about anything college at all or high school, anything like that, let me know down below and I'm happy to answer. Other than that, I'll see you on the next one. Bye.